Hey everybody, welcome to the YSPodcast. My name is Adam McLean. This week's show, we're going to feature two sets of foreigners. The first one, they're going to share a tip, and they're from the country of Appalachia.
Hey y'all, I'm Mandee.
And I'm Christi.
From the group Aletheia. We've got a tip for you. If you find a snake in your washing machine, the first thing you need to do is
Get a friend.
Get a friend.
And then you pick which job you think is less insane. You take that one. First job being holding the bag. The other job being getting the broom handle. And
see, what we're trying to tell you is this has happened to us. One day there was a snake in our washing machine. Unbeknownst to us, we reached in to just get the towels out, and there was a snake all wrapped around that sucker. And there was a snake all wrapped around that washing machine. And so immediately what Christi did was call a friend. Step one, call a friend. Step two, make a plan. Our plan of attack was to get a broom
handle
and count to 3. That was our whole plan. Get a broom, count to 3. So
we got all worked up for the moment. Mandee had the broom, I had the bag. She was going to get the snake on the broom. I was going to encase it in the bag and get rid of it. So we had a big countdown. 3, 2, 1.
And then we were like, we can't do it. So here's the actual solution. Call a burly hillbilly man into your house to reach in your washing machine and get the snake out. That's what we did.
Because it may bite him and he may get angry, but it will be taken care of at the end of the day.
Yeah. Call for help.
Next up on the show is Tash McGill, and she comes to us from New Zealand, which is the land of sheep and hobbits.
So Labor Day is over, and with that the end of summer, and here in the Northern Hemisphere you guys are sending your kids and your students back to school and getting everything up and running. Of course, if you're like me from the Southern Hemisphere and running on that calendar, well, we're coming out of the middle of winter, spring is on its way but not quite here yet, and we're hoping and waiting for summer. Regardless of where in the world you are doing youth ministry, by now your small groups are up and running, your volunteers have been trained, you've got your programs going in full swing, you've done your end of summer barbecues, and you're welcome back to school lock-ins. So here's my question. With everything going as it's always been before, as you're used to doing it, what are you going to add this year that's fresh, that's new, that's going to give you an opportunity and God an opportunity to bring new life and refreshment into your ministry? Raymond Hull, a Canadian playwright, said, "He who trims himself to suit everyone will soon whittle himself away." And that's exactly where I want to start. What do we as youth pastors, as youth workers, have to offer or bring into our ministries this year that's fresh and that's new? So what can we do for ourselves? Where can we start with that challenge? Here are some thoughts and ideas. The first thing is this: sustainability and life-giving energy comes from wholeness. The number one thing that you can bring to your ministry, to your family, to your students is wholeness. And it's a scary journey sometimes, but I want to encourage you to embrace it. Find wise people around you who can reflect honestly into your life. Think for yourself and reflect on those patterns and behaviours that maybe cause you some concern in your ministry. Don't be afraid of a little bit of brokenness, because where the bone has been broken, often it heals stronger than ever before. So take this year as an opportunity to focus on getting refreshed and renewed in your personal wholeness. The more whole you are as the leader, the more you have to offer your ministry, regardless of what your programs are, regardless of what you're running. Number 2, embrace leading from where you are and from who you are. Be careful of how many leadership tip 101s and how many strategies you just try and adopt. Instead, yes, learn from others, take on board that training, but apply it. Apply the context of where you are and apply the culture and the personality of who you are, and lead uniquely from that place, because that will enable you to do so much more, both for yourself and for your students. And invite other people into that journey with you this year. Make that a really strong number one personal goal, and invite your senior pastors into the process of learning how to lead from who you are and how God's created you to lead. Don't whittle yourself away to suit somebody else's leadership strategy. You'll be strongest and most capable when you do it from who you are. Number 3, allow space for new creativity and your own spirituality. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, don't be afraid to mess it up a little bit. After all, if we're talking about life-giving energy and newness and freshness, we need to create some spaces for God to speak to us again. So maybe put down that devotional you've been using for the last 2, 3, 5, 15 years. Why don't you do what I do? Pick up an old Baptist hymn book and work your way through these words that are years and years old but have so much truth and meaning. Or try putting away the Christian self-help books, the ministry titles, the latest Christian releases. Why don't you pick up some biographies, some journals of Christian leaders or people that you respect and admire? You'll learn about developing wholeness and newness in your own spiritual life by understanding and reading their journeys. It's a great way to re-engage and create space. Hey, if you're not used to spending time by yourself, why don't you start getting to know your own company and sharing that time with God? All sorts of great ways out there to re-engage and reconnect for newness and freshness in your own spirituality. So make that a goal and a priority this year. And number 4, simplify. How many times do we add something new, a new program, a new ministry idea, a new concept, a new way of working? All of a sudden we think, hey, I need to add a date night with my partner, I need to start a new small group, there's a new missions program that's underway, and we add all the stuff that we think we ought to be and should be doing. You know what? Probably, yeah, we could be, ought to be, should be doing those things. But our tendency is to get into the trap of constantly adding and never taking away. So simplify. Why don't you take the next few months as an opportunity to examine what you're doing in your ministry life, figure out what you can simplify, where you can create some space. In Isaiah, it's written, forget the former things, see, I'm doing a new thing, like a spring rising up in the desert. Back home in New Zealand, there's a saying, tungia te ururua, kia tupu whakarito te tupu o he harakeke. It means burn away the overgrowth and let the flax shoots grow through. Basically, it's talking about newness. It's talking about dealing with some of the old stuff and allowing something new and fresh to come through in your ministry. This year, don't start with adding new programs, new ideas. Start with yourself and what God wants to do that's new and fresh for you. I pray a blessing on you as you go into your ministry this year, and know that we're with you.
Hey, thanks for watching the show this week. As always, you can connect with me. You can send me an email at adam@youthspecialties.com, or look me up on facebook.com/youthspecialties, or on Twitter, or any other social network that you make up. We'll find you there, just whatever. We'll connect with you. You'll connect with me. It'll be awesome. We want to remind you, just like we do every week, that your ministry matters. We know that you don't hear it enough. We know that right now, especially, is super busy, and maybe you're not feeling appreciated, but we here at Youth Specialties appreciate what you do. It's very important to the parents in your ministry, to the students, but most importantly, the heart of God. Thanks for what you do. We'll see you next week.